Hello, and welcome to Entangled, the podcast where we explore the science of consciousness, the true nature of reality, and what it means to be a spiritual being having a human experience. I'm your host, Jordan Euclid, and today I'm joined by my friend and healer, Dr. Richelle Knowles, co-founder of Network Wellness Center. Dr. Richelle begins with her educational journey from leaving pharmacy school to enrolling in chiropractic school instead. She explains how the body is a self-healing organism and that nature needs no help, just no interference. She describes the utility of chiropractic in correcting subluxations and misalignments. Richelle explains gentle force chiropractic and the nervous system as the master control system of the body. We then discuss concepts including revitalism, eustress, and imbalance. Richelle describes how all healing arts involve being present and loving people and the importance of community. We describe how the darkness of COVID-19 also opens the door for a new health renaissance. Richelle explains the importance of sunshine and exercise. We discuss life-work integration, being in a state of flow, and in finding joy in whatever you do. We then consider Secretary of Health Kennedy's performance and the need to fix our food system. We end on what attracts healers to the science of chiropractic. The outro, which starts at the 51-minute mark, is entitled Epienergetics and Manifesting the Extraordinary. Outro is available for this and all episodes at entangledpodcast.substack.com. Music from the show available on the Spotify playlist Entangled the Vibes. If you like the show, please drop a 5-star review and subscribe on Substack, YouTube, Spotify, Rumble, X, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Please enjoy the episode. Dr. Richelle Knowles, thanks so much for joining the podcast tonight.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Jordan. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I really appreciate getting to know you over the last probably year and a half now. Maybe actually closer to 2 years now. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I've really enjoyed all of the chiropractic care I've gotten from you and your husband, who's been on the podcast as well.
Yes.
So maybe we can start with just what's a little bit of your life's background and how did you end up getting into chiropractic?
Sure. So I actually have more of a medical background. So I went to pharmacy school before I went to chiropractic school. And which is really interesting because I was like the 180, right, the total flip. And when I was about 19 years old, my mom started taking us to the chiropractor. And, we know chiropractic's more about back pain and headaches, and it's more than that. But my experience was that I had horrific migraines when I was a teenager. And I had been in a couple really bad car accidents, and it could have been from that, who knows. I was an athlete. And so my mom took us to the chiropractor. My brother, I have a twin brother who lives in Florida, who's also a chiropractor, and he knew since he was 12 years old that he wanted to be a chiropractor. And I knew that I wanted to be in healthcare somehow, help people. So being in pharmacy school, I was like, oh, this is like, I don't take medicine. And I went to the chiropractor and I noticed, wow, I didn't have a headache this week. The headaches were so bad that I would literally have to go into a dark room with like room darkening blinds and no sound. I couldn't see. It was crazy bad. And after going to the chiropractor, I didn't have headaches anymore. And I said, wow, there's something to this. And a whole bunch of different things, like I worked for a pharmaceutical company and all kinds of things that kind of lined up where my life's calling was. That I needed to go more into like a natural, holistic, vitalistic type of health because that's how I was living my life. And my life and health changed so much with chiropractic, and so then I decided to go to chiropractic school. And I said I had a lot of adjustments to give to kind of I don't want to say counteract, but fill in from all the prescriptions I filled. So it's a completely different mindset. But we were talking earlier, I'm more of a yes and than an either or type of a person. There's a time and a place for everything, so I don't bash anything because there's life-saving things that happen. I just think that my gig, or what really excites me, or what I'm passionate about, is like enhancing people's life experience, and like the human performance dynamic, and not just, well, we want to get sick people well, or get you better, we're treating this and that. That's not really our gig of what we do. It's like, how do we help optimize your spine and nervous system so that we can optimize your human experience and human performance. So yeah, so
Wow, that's great.
yeah.
So back to your time in pharmacy school,
Yeah.
I have to imagine you chose to go that path because you thought that pharmacy as a whole was helping heal people, like you're saying.
Right.
Like, where was it on your journey where you felt like this wasn't the approach that was actually getting people help?
Yeah. So I worked at a pharmaceutical company that distributed meds to long-term care facilities, and I went to distribute meds, and there was a woman. She was sitting. It was a nursing home basically, and she would always sit. And she was by herself, and when I would go in with my little drug cart, she would you know, sit there, and she was super alive, and you know, had light in her eyes, and would say hi to me. And then just over a few months, I saw her go downhill. And one time when I was there, she actually fell out of bed. And as I was like loading her prescriptions in, I thought, man, is what I'm doing helping her? I don't know, right? And that was kind of a big turning point for me, is to see somebody that seemed vital and alive. And there could have been, you know, many things that were going on, but I wanted to help add life to people. And I also wanted to spend time with people, you know, and to put my hands on people. And I knew that what I was doing, it wasn't necessarily leading to that. And so I've been doing this since 1999, so for a really long time. And I can't imagine doing anything else. I love it that much. It's like, it's not just a job, it's an absolute calling for me. So I so enjoy it.
That's beautiful. So how would you describe chiropractic?
Yeah, so, you know, our profession's really interesting because there's so many different avenues and different approaches, and I don't judge other people for the way they do what they do, that's fine, but our brand of chiropractic, and not even just network spine, all the type of work that we do, but just kind of chiropractors who think the way that we do, that the body is a self-healing organism, and that nature needs no help, just no interference. And that when you help to basically help the brain and body connect better, your body can heal and function better. And so that's basically what I see chiropractic to be, is better communication between the brain and the rest of the body, correcting spinal subluxations, misalignments, just helping the body function and be at its optimum. So.
So when someone comes in for an adjustment,
yes.
Like, how do you approach it? Like, what are you looking for? How do you know where to start?
Yeah, so we are kind of outcome assessment junkies. You know, people would think, oh, you do a general force chiropractic, so it's kind of woo-woo, right? But we're total outcome assessment junkies. We do all kinds of testing, and everything, and not because I'm trying to talk somebody into something, or because I need to show them that there's something wrong with them, but because I want to see where their baseline is, and also to know that there's something right within them, and that those things can change and they can improve. And so it's a way for us to, along the process and along the path, monitor how people are doing, so that we can see, is there something that we need to change in terms of the approach of how we're assessing people's spines. And we feel their spine, we palpate active, passive, and what we call neural control subsystem. We do leg length checks. We, all kinds of different posture analysis and heart rate variability, thermography, surface electromyograph, any needed X-rays, all those types of things, just to really assess and get a picture of what their spine's looking like now, so that we can see where they can be in the future. I never really see someone where they're at when they first come in. I see what their potential of where they're going to be.
Totally.
So,
wow. That's really cool to think about it.
So.
And so why is the spine and nervous system and coordination with the brain, like, why is that so important for overall health?
Right. Well, you know, if anybody's on Instagram, they know regulating the nervous system is like the buzzword for the past, I don't know, 5 years, something like that. And I was like, oh, we've been doing that since 1895, chiropractic, right? Like that's our thing. It's the nervous system, right? And it is the master control system of the whole body. It controls and regulates every other system. And so for that to be at its healthiest, that's where you get true health, right? And where vitalism really comes from is making sure that the body can function at its optimum. So,
And you mentioned earlier, I think, was it grand force chiropractic? Is that the term you used?
No, low force.
Low force.
Yeah, lower force.
Yeah. So could you talk about what is that relative to the other types of chiropractic?
Correct. So when people think of more conventional chiropractic, they think of probably what they see on TikTok, where people come down, right, like a flying seven, or they take the towel, or they hang you from something. I saw something that a friend posted, and it was like this guy hanging from literally from the ceiling in this contraption, and this guy came and just ripped into him. We don't do that. So we do very gentle adjustments that are safe and gentle and effective. And oftentimes people will come in and they're actually scared to go to a chiropractor because there's also a lot of propaganda and stuff out there about chiropractic's dangerous, and it's not. It's safe, and it's effective. People have to be really specific and mindful. That's what I really love about our approach is that it is so gentle, but it's so effective. I mean, it changes people's spinal posture and everything. It's pretty phenomenal, and it's not with a lot of heavy force, which some people love, and some people are very afraid of. So I love that we get to do something that is a very little input to create a huge output.
Yeah, and is it fair to say that the idea with low force is that it's more of a patterning of helping your nervous system over time get into the right shape, where maybe higher force would be shorter frequency but higher intensity?
Yes, and I love conventional, traditional chiropractic as well. I think it's wonderful. I with the work that we do, we're helping the nervous system unwind underlying spinal cord distortions so that the body can self-regulate and make its own corrections too. So it's almost like a strategy of learning of the nervous system, right?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of, again, yes and not either or type of a thing for me, because there's benefits to both. So
it's interesting, and I've definitely seen as I've been doing chiropractic, how these subluxations have built up over time, and totally thrown off my posture and coordination in ways that I didn't even know was, it's one of those you don't know what you don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's really been amazing to see how that has, pulled through at as I've continued to heal the nervous system.
That's awesome. One of the things that we talk about a lot with the work that we do is coherence and energy efficiency. And so the word, coherence, it's just, you can read about it, it's scientific, it's really amazing, but it's helping there be more energy efficiency in the whole system, your body as a whole.
Yeah.
And you can feel when you're more coherent, right? When you're more in alignment, how life flows versus when something's off. Like you said, I can feel when there's subluxations in my life, you just know something's off, right?
Yeah.
And then the difference it makes whenever you're more coherent. So there's more coherence.
And it's interesting to me how intertwined it seems physical, emotional, and spiritual trauma is all intertwined with one. And we I at least historically had always thought those were discrete things, but then the more you get to know your nervous system, the more you realize how they're all intertwined.
Absolutely. I think that people think they need to have a big physical trauma to allow themselves to get help for some reason. I was in a car accident, or I fell, or I have a sports injury. Now I can go get help. Versus you have physical, chemical, mental, emotional stresses that impact your health, And from what I've seen in 25 years is that the physical impacts definitely have an impact, but especially these days, right? I'd say with the last, 5 to 10 years with all the technology and everything, just so much information that we're being given on a daily basis that I don't think our nervous systems were ready for. Like you listen to all the things that I do with like digital minimalism and like just trying to cut back on those things, but that we're getting so much information that it's like an overload for our system, and that's a mental stressor, right? I've seen those things impact people's health and nervous system even more so than the physical in the last several years. So
wow.
it's really, it's epidemic,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And do you find like certain like types of trauma or types of like emotional trauma like tend to congregate in the same areas of the nervous system or in the same ways? Like
they can. I mean, there's definitely patterns that you see in people, but in my eyes, stress is stress.
Yeah.
Right? And the body interprets it. There's this type of stress called eustress. I think we've talked about this before. You and I have had a conversation. Yeah. It's EU stress, right? And one of my mentors talks about it a lot. He actually shows a video of him flying a fighter jet, right? And saying that's stressful, right? But it's like your body still interprets it as stress, like those, daredevil type things, or even like getting married and getting divorced. Your body still, if getting married is supposed to be a happy time, your body still uses that information that it's a stressful situation. Even though it's a good situation, it's called eustress. So it's like constructive stress, but it still impacts your body. So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because you were talking, so I got into chiropractic totally by synchronicity, right?
I know, you were at the RFK, yeah.
Exactly,
and our friend said, you gotta go see these guys.
Yeah, and it's so funny because when I signed up for that, I didn't even know it was at a chiropractic conference, like it was a surprise location for, security reasons. Right. But yeah, then we got chatting, and I think you guys could tell that like my posture was very off, right away. You gotta come see us.
Yes.
And it's funny because like I didn't even think, like you said, like that there's anything off. But then we did the initial assessment and saw that I had actually 2 big subluxations at the top of my neck on the left side and the bottom of my hip on the right side, and that I think like my right side weighed like 15 more pounds than the left side. It was pretty wild to learn that.
Well, because you're a healthy guy.
Totally, yeah.
Right? So you're like, I work out, I eat healthy, I drink chlorine-free water, like all the things,
exactly.
Right? And then you're like, okay, it's like another level of health, right?
Yeah.
So that was probably surprising to you.
It was super surprising to me, yeah.
Here in Colorado, so many people are healthy. Like we're one of the #1 healthiest like states in the country. And so people get really shocked because they're like, I do all the things. I am a mountain biker, or I do yoga every day. I do these things. And it's like, if your spine and nervous system isn't healthy, no matter what you do with all those things, you're never going to be as healthy as you should be.
Totally.
So it's like another level of health.
Yeah. So, yeah, for sure. And then as I kept going, I found that there's actually like a 3rd weird subluxation in my right foot.
Interesting.
Yeah, isn't that weird? But that was the one that took the longest to really heal. But now that it is, like, it's totally changed my form at the gym and like my endurance and just like energy sustainability, and it's been really exciting.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yay, that's really exciting. What do you notice mostly?
Weight distribution. Well, a couple things. I think weight distribution for like powerlifting for sure. I didn't realize how much that just like imbalance with my right and left had caused me to favor the right side in everything I was doing, which then as you start trying to lift heavier, you're just what's the word, like exponentially increasing the problem.
Totally.
So I think that's one big area where I'm getting fixed, and then coordination, honestly, is the other big one. It's funny, like my buddy John just made a joke recently that like I would fall off the diving board like going the wrong way, like I could go down the diving board. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's funny. Like I've seen how much my foot like was never on solid ground, honestly, and so just kind of refining some of those fine muscles in the foot. Like I feel like it's helping just everything.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
So it's funny, and like you were talking earlier about the car accident, and it's funny like when my neck subluxation cleared, I was talking to Dr. Danny at my next assessment about it, and I mentioned that I didn't know what it was from, and that like I'd been in a car accident when I was a kid, but like didn't have any pain. My mom went to a chiropractic then, and he was like, well, you might not have had pain, but that doesn't mean it didn't impact your nervous system. And like I like had this like aha moment, like, oh, that's exactly what that was from. Like that whiplash. But then it was also cool because when that happened, like I also had this download of like literally like having a chip on my shoulder. Like I saw how like that had actually like helped motivate me and like had benefited me in ways that you wouldn't expect, know?
Right.
So it was cool to like get all of that together.
Get the gift.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and like same thing with my foot. Like when like that, because that was a pretty painful experience. Like to figure out just that was a little bit more of a traumatic experience. I think what caused that.
Right.
But there was no like sadness or depression or anything about it. It was just understanding, and it was like, oh, it all makes sense now.
That you get the message.
Exactly.
Because your body's always trying to tell you something.
Exactly.
And we can not listen or we can listen.
Yeah.
And the thing you were talking about your neck is you were in that accident and you didn't have any pain. But your nerve fibers, only 10% of them sense pain. So the rest of them go to your muscles, they go to your organs, it's all the other different pieces of the nervous system. So you can have those subluxations or misalignments, and it's not affecting you in terms of how you feel, but it's affecting you in terms of how you function. So that's why it's so important.
Yeah, it totally is, and then if you think about like the emotional trauma and stuff about it too, like I think I told you I interviewed Brad Yates, the tapping guy, recently, and at that time like I hadn't, and like the subluxation was still kind of really built up, but it was like moving, it was like it was ready to go. Yeah, so I talked to him about how like I know there's something there, and I think it's caused like wrath to play a role in my life historically, And it's funny because you obviously know me, like I am generally a very amicable, like good, a happy personality.
Right.
But then there have been times in my life where just an anger, like a mean anger has come out, and it's like, what is that from? And so I don't know. Anyway, it's just cool to like get that understanding.
And this isn't from me being a chiropractor. It's just from me being a human being. I think I love that you're a nice guy, and I also feel like it's okay to be angry sometimes too. Like we're, not to hurt anybody, but maybe your powerlifting's where you get that anger out. I love that they have break rooms now and things like that because there's a part of us that we need to express that because if we repress it, it comes out at the wrong time. Versus we have a healthy avenue of how to express that anger. I'm not a therapist or anything like that, but just being around thousands of humans over the years and being in private practice, you see that it's like people being able to express emotion in a healthy way.
Yeah.
And anger's a part of that. I'm also like a kind person. You want to do right by everybody, and it's okay. Like every once in a while, I'm like, and it's okay to get like that. But like, how do we let that out in a way that's productive and constructive? So powerlifting is probably a good avenue.
Yeah,
Even at the gym, right?
Yeah, so. Get some pump up music going.
Exactly. I know. I always tell our staff, I'm like, we need to go to one of those break rooms in Denver and just like smash TVs. So.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny you say that you're not a therapist because like I know technically that's right, but I feel like a lot of your clients would probably disagree with that assessment.
Well, I think that the big piece of anybody like being in a healing art is that being present and loving people, right? Like it's not really I don't give people advice very rarely, we show them what's going on, we take care of them, but it's just being present with people and being there for them. So few people, I think, especially like with COVID and stuff, like lost the sense of community,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
I was talking about my daughter, she's working from home, we work from home, you know, there's beauty in that, there's freedom in that, because we can be a nomad and travel and still work and do all those cool things. And then there's also that little bit of a loss of like the water cooler conversation.
sure.
And this,
Yeah.
right, is so powerful. Like you were like, well, we can do it virtually, and I was like, no, let's go down and like you wanted, you're like, I want to do it in person now, and I love that because it's like, hey, if you're only 45 minutes away, like go do it, like be with people, be in community, because that's so powerful, you know. So I feel like there's just something about being in the same space and then just being digital with people all the time. So
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think like especially for like this type of like longer form conversation.
Totally.
You know, and like I noticed like I think we still get into is like good of conversations and generally online.
Absolutely.
You know? But
yes.
like I also find that you can kind of you hit a lull and then it's harder to like keep it going, you know, where
right.
in person, I don't know, it's just easier to keep it and even just go deeper.
Yeah, and I know that, Zoom is the thing, and it's great because then we're connected, like we can talk to somebody in Europe or, anywhere across the world, but that's the things that I think that there's a convenience that it creates connection from that perspective. But if you are close in, vicinity to people, it's nice to actually be with people.
Yeah,
so,
totally. Yeah. And on the therapy topic too, again, no disrespect to therapists as a whole, like I know they're great ones.
Right.
But you've also seen research that like just ruminating on your problems a lot of times is just making it worse. Where like I think what you do is all about helping the body identify where whatever that trauma is getting trapped is, and just letting it release it itself.
Right, absolutely. And I think therapy can be great. There's a lot of research with like EMDR and things like that are really powerful because there's a lot of research with that as well. There's so many things out there. It's like just amazing, like what we have at our fingertips, that I think that there's things that are ancient that have always been there, but just now it's like I feel like we've been opened up to like a whole new realm of health and well-being and vitalism and ways to, like with all the biohacking and just ways and it's so cool that a lot of the stuff is mainstream now.
Yeah,
it's
awesome.
Not like the closet woo-woo, right? That like nobody talks about, right? But it's like out there now, right? For like all the world to see, and people are like, oh wow, maybe I will try this one different thing that I didn't, like tapping or something that I have never done before, because I want to be the best version of myself. For myself, but for everybody that I'm around, and if I have more light and love and have more availability to who I truly am, like the essence of who I am, then that's going to show up in all the people that I'm around.
And it makes me think too, like we were talking about COVID and how like, that brought a lot of like darkness to light, right? But I think with it's been such a fun journey, like for example, like reading, RFK's book on Tony Fauci, obviously a very dark story, but then you see, okay, well actually let me think about it, like, all right, this helps me understand that all of our current MD medical school profession has actually all been set by one very specific curriculum with a specific set of interests. Why don't we go back and start looking at what all these ancient healers said over the last thousands of years, right? And how many ways they had found to naturally heal the body. And I think it's just kind of to your point, like just this beautiful renaissance of the healing arts right now.
It really is. As much as we all want to like say, COVID was off, but that whole time was awful, right, for people, but I feel like it also cracked things open for there to be a new renaissance, and especially in the health paradigm, because we were living in a certain paradigm for just so long, and anybody who thought differently, it was fringe, and it's not fringe anymore. It's like that's becoming mainstream of like. And once again, I always go back to, I'm not a either or, I'm a yes and, that there's merit in all different approaches, and people have to find what works and what fits for them. And in the same breath, like if you can do something that's less invasive, and that's helping people to get healthier, I think that should be looked at first before anything else.
So what do you like, what do you prioritize in terms of staying healthy outside of chiropractic?
So, definitely exercising.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I went through my yoga run, and I still really like yoga. Mostly now I love to hike because I feel like it's super important to get outside.
Yeah.
And get some vitamin D.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so I think that we need to, we're so in our, like, work from home, right? You're here. Like, I have an office, so I'm in my office, but I love to be outside, and I love to be with my dog, and I love to be in nature, and I think that we talk about health in the nervous system, right? Like one of the things that when you talk about like heart rate variability and like creating a better heart rate variability is being in nature and spending time outside is one of the best things you can do for your health. And so that I think as I am getting older, I'm starting to see how important that is. Like I always loved to hike, I loved to garden, I love, all those types of things. And then for me, I go through in and out. Like I was a vegan at one point. I was a vegetarian for a really long time. Then I went through my meat phase, So now it's like really just trying to strike balance of trying not to do like processed foods. Like the people I was talking about, like I stay on the outside of the grocery store, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't go into the middle.
Yeah, sure, totally.
You just go to the outside, right? Where's the vegetables? Where are the meat, fish, and and the dairy, and that's where the fruit. That's where you go. So that's basically for me. And I mean, you're younger, but for people that watch this that are in their 40s and 50s, your health you really have to be more aware when you get older. People tell you that, and you just think it's never going to come. Like you have to be. I see my teen and they can eat chocolate cake. Like I really can't eat chocolate cake. I can like every once in a while, but like you wake up the next day and you feel like a truck hit you.
Totally.
And the more and more, the older you get, the more and more sensitive I think you get to like what moderation is very different. Because moderation could mean you can have 2 beers. Now, if I have a half a margarita, I feel like awful the next day, And I think also there's so much coming out. I don't know if you named, but like Dr. Daniel Amen, if you've ever read any of his stuff, you would love him. He does a lot of stuff with like the brain scans and how different things affect it, and with like mental health and ADHD and you just, for me, it's like I have to be clean with how I eat, or I feel really bad.
Yeah.
And one of my friends that I recommended to be on your podcast, Lauren Kowalski, she's awesome. But I've been working with her too. She is a nutritionist, and she's phenomenal. And she's really been helping me like just dial in like not just what I'm eating, but like kind of every aspect of health from what you bring into your body.
Yeah.
So that's been huge for me in the last year.
That's great. Yeah. Well, we connected a little bit, so I'm hoping to get.
Yeah, she's a wildfire. She'll be here for a couple hours. She is awesome. Yeah, she's a wildfire. But so it's just it to me it's I work really hard and I work a lot, and I think there's a myth of like, and I know you kind of are on the same page as I am, but the life-work balance thing, like there's this myth and culture right now of like, you need to have life-work balance. I don't mean you have to work all the time, but when you love what you do, work becomes play. And Tony Robbins often talks about life-work integration, where you're just kind of in flow. So if you're working, you're happy. If you're recreating, you're happy. Like whatever you're doing, you're finding joy. So you're not like there's a hard stop. Like people time block, and I get all those things, and that you have to have playtime and work hard, play hard, all those things. But this myth of like it's not okay to work hard. Right. I think if you are passionate and you enjoy what you're doing, then working hard can be play.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I think the problem is that just how the economic incentives of our system have been structured is that it's very hard, at least most people I think struggle to see a pathway to have economic independence and
Yes.
also do something they love.
Totally. We live in a different world. I mean, I have kids in their 20s, right? My daughter's in her early 20s, my son's in his mid 20s. And it's like, to be able to buy a home, we were just talking about that.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right? To be able to afford a car. Like, this new generation, if you read, they're going to be the first generation that's not going to do better than their parents. That's devastating, right? I mean, we can use that as an excuse, or we could also use that to break through, right? Like, we can say, well, that's not going to be my story, and so I'm going to change it. But a majority of the culture, that will be their experience, and it's painful to even think that what is the American dream, right? And is that obtainable anymore? It's pretty devastating.
It is.
So.
Yeah. No, I heard like a great speech the other day that was
Yeah.
talking about like, you know, the American dream. It's just being able to buy a house and support a family. Like,
Yes.
that's it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I read something the other day that said, it was like an opinion piece, and the person was saying, like, it showed a picture of a 1940s or 50s home, right? And like the guy with a hat and a briefcase coming home from work, and the kids playing in the yard. And it said, you know, a man could work a 9 to 5, have a home, have a car, put kids through college, like what happened? Like 2 people can't do that now, right? And so we've got to figure something out.
Yeah.
We're not heading in a good direction in terms of that, so.
Yeah.
Hopefully some smart people will figure that out.
Yeah. And I think like we were saying, just as COVID woke people
Mhm.
up to
Yeah.
the health paradigm needed revisiting,
Mhm.
I think just the insane amount of debt and the crazy inflation and the inability to buy houses
Yeah,
is forcing us to revisit the entire central banking economic system.
everything,
It's crazy.
right. That article went on to say, some of the comments on it were, well, he could afford that because he didn't have a gazillion, like Netflix, Hulu, you know, like 15 different subscriptions. He didn't spend everything on credit cards. They waited till they had cash to be able to pay for that, you know, all those things. It was like, we are totally in excess the way we all live, and we know it, you know, and you know, we're leveraged, everybody's leveraged, like the country, right? The world is leveraged.
Yeah, seriously.
And so you just look at it and you're like, they were smart, you know, like they lived simply. They had, because they didn't have all the things that we have that we think makes our life nice and convenient, but it also kind of locks us in chains a bit too, so.
Yeah, it
But,
does.
sorry, that's my soapbox. So.
Yeah. So I'd love to ask you about,
Yeah.
you know, what's it been like being in Boulder the last
Yeah.
few years? You know, because
Yeah.
Boulder's kind of that really unique mix of people who are very focused on health and natural wellness,
Yeah.
but they also tend to be very much rule followers and not
Yeah.
challenge the edicts of public
Yeah.
health policy.
It's been interesting, you
Yeah.
know. I think for me, especially as I age, like I'm once again the yes and either or thing is I just kind of love people for who they are. I think there's so much polarity and there's so much hate, and I try to find like where there's common ground.
Yeah.
You know, so I could get upset because somebody thinks differently about me about this or that. And even from like a political standpoint, like I don't even know where I belong anymore. You know,
Yeah, I feel like everything's been
I
so
have to
upside
tell
down.
people, I'm like, I don't know what I am anymore.
Right.
I'm like this, you know, I don't know. I'm like, we're probably the 80% of people truly are, not on the fringe of either side.
Yeah.
You know? And so I just, through all of it, just tried to love people regardless of where they were at, you know, because if somebody is so stressed out and overwhelmed about what's going on, they need my care, right? And so I'm not a like, well, you're in this camp or you're in this camp or you're doing this, or so I'm gonna just push you aside. I'm gonna just draw my circle bigger, but instead of like drawing a little circle to shut you out, I'm gonna draw a bigger circle to envelop you. And I think that our world is so polarized, from healthcare to politics, And I don't know how much of it is created online and how much of it really isn't. Because if you really sit down and talk to somebody that has different views than you, you can find common ground and you see the humanity in them and all that stuff. So, you know, not always easy, but I think that coming from the space of like, I just love you, regardless if you think the same way I do, you know, is important.
Yeah.
On either ends of the spectrum, right? So,
yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, so that's kind of been my theory through it.
Yeah.
I kind of, the first year I was kind of like going crazy, like stir crazy, and then I was like, okay, breathe. How do we be what, I mean, you know, the quote of be the person, you know, treat others the way you want to be treated.
Right.
And, you know, be the version of yourself of who you want people to be. So I just started doing that. Like, you know, I don't care what your politics are. I don't care what I'm going to love you and not create the polarity that's being created. So,
yeah.
I mean, it doesn't mean that you're not standing for your values, but it means that for me, I have so many, I'm sure you do too, family members, friends, everybody's all over the spectrum of where they stand.
Totally.
And I'm like, the fact that people can't go to Christmas because they have different views is like crazy to me. It's like, come on, people, like your family, your friends, like you need to figure out a way to just say, let's let bygones be bygones. I'm gonna agree to disagree with you and love you no matter what. And we need a lot more of that. So
definitely need a lot more of that.
So
did you have to shut down the office at all during that time?
We did. So we shut down for 8 weeks. Wow. Because 2 states in the country, Kentucky and Colorado, actually chiropractors were considered non-essential, which now there's thoughts that maybe that wasn't the case. But yeah, I mean, it was hard coming back. It was so like coming back, and we had to rebuild our practice from scratch. Like it was wild.
And yeah, it was all done in the name of health. Like
it's
crazy.
Right. And you know, there were people that were like, "I need you," and we were like, you know, you want to do the right thing. But yeah, I'm glad that that's behind us, and I hope that we learned some of our lessons from this time, and that doesn't really happen again. So
I think we did. I really do.
Yeah.
It feels like the Rubicon has been crossed.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, and if on some level, I mean, there's always light that comes from darkness. That's kind of how I see it. You know, regardless of wherever people are on the spectrum, that seeing multiple perspectives is what moves us forward.
Yeah.
You know, the more we hold on to that this is the only way things can be.
Yeah. And
the more dogmatic we are, the less we can move forward. So I feel like, I love how you said it was like a cracking open to like a renaissance in health. It really had people look at like, what does it really mean to be healthy? And what is important? Like, I really value my health now, because everybody, right? Because I know what it's like when people aren't healthy and when you don't have health, what that means. It's everything. Yeah. Right? Like I was listening to somebody the other day, and they said, when you have a major health crisis and something going on, you're not thinking of anything else. Yeah. When somebody gets a diagnosis or something's happening, your sole focus is, how do I get better, right? And so I think we really need to be grateful when we're healthy. Yeah. Because it can change in a time. So.
It could, yeah. And isn't it some crazy percentage of people who go into debt or into bankruptcy is because of a medical situation?
Totally. Yeah.
It's wild.
I know, it's wild. So I'm hoping all of this is going to be reimagined somehow.
Yeah, totally.
Because, you know, all of these issues are so complex.
Yeah.
Like, we want it to be black and white, and we don't want there to be shades of gray. You know, so people talk about like, oh, you know, like Europe and the healthcare system, or like Canada and the healthcare system, like that's awful. And then there's more taxes and blah, 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 you know. But then you think like, yeah, but what we have going on with people who, you know, have to file bankruptcy, or like we have a family friend whose child had cancer, and they were doing all different kinds of things. I mean, thank goodness he's fine, right? But they were doing things that weren't covered by insurance and everything. I mean, they had to sell their house. They had to, it was unbelievable what they did to be able to just get the care that their son needed. I mean, both medical and, you know, more on the health paradigm. And you just think, like, why should that have to be the case for people? That people have to sell their home and their cars and, like, you know, barely get by so that they can, their son can, you know, get healthier. So yeah, just it's a shame. So
it is
one of the many things that that needs change to change. So
yeah. Well, and on that note, right? How do you feel about how RFK's done as Secretary of Health so far?
Yeah, I think it's exciting. You know, I think that, and you had an opportunity to meet him too, like we did. I just like being in that room and hearing him talk. You can, I don't know. There's like a meter of knowing, like when somebody's like really legitimate and when somebody is just saying what they think people want to hear. He was so, like, you could feel that he really cares about people. Like, that was the sense that I got, like, being able to have an opportunity to hear him speak, you know, live in a small group of people. And I was like, wow, he genuinely, like, cares about people and wants what's best for people. And that was the sense that I got. And for me, I feel really good about that. Right? And so I think there's been some major things that have happened that it's kind of shocking that these things are happening, you know, like never in my lifetime. Like I remember in the 80s and 90s and people would think, oh, you're crazy for this,
right,
thinking this way, and now it's happening, right? Like I didn't think that it would ever be, like I said, mainstream.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited, you know, for what he's gonna do, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for and where he goes after this too. So.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
And it's just such like a, I don't know, I mean, like, you know, you see those videos of like America Now versus like how it looked in the 50s and things like that, and it's like, it's so sad, but it's also, on the flip side, like, it's so exciting to think about, like, I think that health is the natural way everyone should be, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, like, but, you know, that could look, our whole world could look very differently with a few small changes.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, and you travel a lot. You know, we went to New Zealand a few years ago to teach. And you go into a grocery store, and every grocery store is like a natural food store, right? Like everything like you go into a restaurant, and every restaurant is like a healthy food restaurant.
Right.
You know, and it's not all these chains and fast food. I mean, there are those things there, but it's like very little compared to what we have here, right? And so you just feel different when you eat food there.
Yeah.
You know, like that's the way we should feel in America. Like we should feel like we're the healthiest planet on the healthiest country on the planet, and we're just not, you know. Or you go to Italy and you eat bread and pasta and wine and food, you know, all kinds of stuff, and you lose weight.
Right.
And here you have like one pasta meal, and you're like, you know, you
can't.
Exactly. You can't move your hands. You know, you're all swollen and everything, and it's like, but why is that? You know, the United States of America.
Yeah.
You know, and people will say, oh, that's not, you know, you'll hear all the things, but no, actually go and spend a week in Italy and eat like that and feel good when we leave.
Yeah.
Right? And have your digestion is good and everything. And then if you ate like that when you were here, you would just not feel that way. So, but it's a shame, and it's actually, but it's really cool that things are starting to change. So.
Yeah, it is really cool. I would love to get your thoughts too. You know, you mentioned how your brother's also chiropractic. Yes. You and Danny met at chiropractic school.
Right.
His parents are chiropractic. Like, what do you attribute that to? You think it's that, like, you know, just people see how effective it is and it attracts their family member to the profession, or?
Yeah, I think they see how effective it is. Number one, I think that you see people love what they do. Right? Like if I don't know, like our son was in the finance and the business consulting world, right?
Sure.
and he's now in chiropractic school.
Oh wow, that's
I
amazing! I didn't know that. Congrats.
Yeah, so he worked for a big company, and he was a consultant, and was making great money and all that kind of stuff, and he just felt like this kind of hole of like, but there's more.
Right.
Like my parents come home from work and they love what they do and they're so happy, and that like it lights them up. And he didn't feel lit up by that. And not everybody feels like that about their job. But then they find like a side gig or a passion or something that they can filter their passion through. And he's just was like, I was getting more money and all this type of stuff. And it was like, I felt like, I was doing all the things I was supposed to do. And then I said, but like, what impact do I want to make? And then he came to us and he was like, I'm quitting my job. And we almost fell over, right? Because he had worked so hard to get his job and everything. And then he's in school, he's about halfway through, and he loves it, right? And it's exciting to see him find his passion. I think it's just, you're around people that are jazzed and passionate about something, and it makes you want to feel that same way about having meaningful work.
Yeah. Wow, that's so exciting.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
But we can't stop talking about it. We need to. Every holiday turns into some health discussion, and it's hilarious. But
yeah.
So.
Well, Dr. Shell, this has been an amazing conversation.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is there anything else we didn't cover?
I think that's great. Yeah, it's been fun. We kind of hit everything.
Yeah, totally. I love just trying to bounce around.
All the problems in the world, current events.
Pray for us to make that happen right now.
Yeah. So. But thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And I'm excited about your podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much. If folks are in the Colorado area, where should they go to find out more about Network Wellness?
So we're boulderchiropractor.com. The name of our office is Network Wellness Center. And we're in Boulder at Folsom and Pine. And you can find us all over social media. And we'd love to help you live your best life. So
amazing.
Excited.
It works. 2 thumbs up.
Thank
a little
you.
customer.
Thank you.
Thank you all for listening, and I hope you enjoyed the episode. In my conversation with Dr. Richelle Knowles, she explained how her clinic, Network Wellness, utilizes the network spinal method of gentle force chiropractic. The network method facilitates healing of the nervous system, the master control system of the body. As I've studied wisdom traditions throughout the ages, I've found this recurring theme, that refinement of the nervous system is the foundation for good health and evolution of consciousness. The network method was developed by Dr. Richelle's father-in-law, Dr. Donnie Epstein. In his book, The Seeker's Code, Dr. Donnie describes the concept of epienergenetics. Quote, "Epienergenetics is the conscious and ecological use of energy and information to manifest the extraordinary. Consciousness means that you are aware of your own existence and the environment around you. It means that you recognize that it is you interpreting and interacting in the world. Epi means beyond, between, or around an object or person. Electricity does not pass through a wire, it jumps in the epispace around the wire. A nerve impulse does not pass through a nerve, it travels in the epispace around the nerve, just as thoughts do not exist in your head or brain. They are the nervous system's vibration or oscillation that links your brain to the epispace around you to create meaning. Epi, in this context, is the space between the physical world and the space around it. The epidermis is the outer layer of the skin. It is the point of union of the physical bound body and the multidimensional reality and information beyond it. Therefore, epienergenetics is the term I developed to describe a novel and revolutionary way of experiencing, understanding, and influencing the world. It is the way of the next tier of human existence in the ambrosia of seekers. It recognizes, honors, and advances the union of the material and non-material, between the seen and unseen, between potential and manifestation, between energy and consciousness. It is the means of transformation, awakening, bringing the mystery into reality, and helping reality to awaken to more." End quote. Epigenetic recognizes, honors, and advances the union of the material and non-material, seen and unseen, potential and manifestation, energy and consciousness. The reality of an unseen, non-material spiritual realm pervades human civilization throughout time and space. Our modern Western paradigm rejects its existence, the exception in human history, which proves the rule. But the big pharma, petrochemical-based paradigm has broken and continues to crumble every day. In its place, we have the opportunity to build a healthcare system that actually works, that recognizes nature needs no help, just no interference. The current storm of human transformation and awakening can lead to a health renaissance, where we remember our true nature, where we understand the mechanics of epigenetics and our latent abilities to manifest the extraordinary.
till we're finally free. I'm ready for you if you're ready for me.